Right, so I had planned to go and see a cathedral today, one that I've been chasing for ages, but I also had to film Trippin Diaries because I hadn't done it before. So I said, might as well do two things at the same time. So I'm going to take you with me to my quest to the cathedral, the Trinity Cathedral, which I'll show you in a minute. Yeah, so I have arrived 6 days ago. And it's been a really interesting journey, first of all, because as usual, I don't research anything about the cities I go to. Obviously knew one thing or another about Russia, but I kind of like arriving with some preconceptions or even misconceptions of places, so I am surprised, and so I allow myself to learn about the country, about the city, and I speak to locals. I don't think you can never know everything about everywhere. I think the important thing is not that. The important thing is to be open, to talk to people and learn a bit about the culture and change your mind. Changing your mind is so important and so underrated this day and age of internet and social media, where everyone's got to have an opinion on something and it has to be like set in stone and you're not allowed to change your mind at all. Surprised about how St. Petersburg, at least, and all these experiences I'm saying now are based on St. Petersburg alone, because I didn't visit Moscow or any other of the billions of regions. This is the biggest country in the world, so you can imagine the diversity of people and ethnicities. And I will recommend a YouTube channel called Geography Now, and they've got a really nice video talking about the different different Russian states. So I definitely recommend that. So based on St. Petersburg alone, I feel like it's very European. Let's be honest. Even like the metro system and I don't know, just the lifestyle people are running. Like the metro gets really busy in rush hour. Sometimes when I'm in the metro, it makes me think of London, like the rush and crowds and the escalators. Oh my god, their escalators are huge. I didn't expect St. Petersburg to be such a massive town, so bustling and noisy sometimes, like you can tell now. So that was a really nice surprise. Another thing is the alphabet. So Russians have their own alphabet, and I'll show you. So yeah, that alphabet is called the Cyrillic alphabet, and I'd seen it before in the Serbian part of Bosnia. If you remember, this is probably for Instagram followers because I wasn't doing videos at the time, but when I was in Bosnia, Bosnia has a bit of Serbian territory within it. I'm not even going to go into the controversy of it, but they use the same alphabet as Russia in that part of Bosnia. So I had seen it, and I never really thought I would one day be able to read it. I never thought I'd be able to read it, and to be honest, it makes a massive difference. If you come to Russia, if you even go to Serbia, it's worth learning it, and it's not hard. But then you think, oh, I'm going to learn the sounds and I'm going to know what word it is, but I don't speak Russian, so what's the use? Well, the use is that a lot of the words are very similar to English. So, you know, going to the supermarket and doing shopping, it's a lot easier when you know what the words mean. And even the word supermarket in Russian is supermarket. So and also, if you can travel to one of the the Balkan countries, I would advise you do that before you come here, because if you can learn a little bit of the language, it's going to help you, because it is quite similar to Russian in some words. And it has helped me a lot. So that's the most shocking thing for me, is how I'm getting along well with the language. I can't speak any of it, by the way. I can say like the key words like hello, thank you, goodbye. But at least like I think it's been easier than some countries I visited. People won't speak English in the streets. The younger population will, especially people who work in customer service, who work in cafes. They will speak English, but in general, you do gestures and you smile. I think smiling is very important. If you can say a Russian word or another, it's important. But I was really jealous because I met this guy in the hostel. He's Scottish, but he speaks a bit of Russian. And he understands a lot of it. There's a car reversing onto me and I don't want to be run over again. So he speaks a bit of Russian and he had a nice conversation. Well, it was more like the guy talking at him. And he was explaining, like telling stories about his life. And he was a bit of an older guy, so he was around during the Soviet times. And he was sharing stories with him in Russian, and it makes me want to learn, but obviously I'm only here for 4 weeks. I'm not going to learn Russian to the level that I'm going to understand the story. Speaking of meeting people, during my first few days here I met a Russian girl in the hostel, and it was funny because I recorded a podcast. So I have a podcast in Portuguese with a friend, and we were talking about how traveling is not going to change anything in your life, and it's not going to make you like get to know yourself better on its own. Like there's a mentality that comes with it, and we were talking about how you need to be open to meet people and talk to people. And in that mentality, I think when I finished that conversation, I kind of got into that mentality, because before that I was a bit more introspective, and that happens when I'm very busy with work and I'm very focused on finishing deadlines and stuff like that. I forget to socialize basically. I'm not a very extroverted person, and socializing is not like a natural norm for me. I need to consciously do it. And I think I finished that conversation and I got into that mindset. And I met this girl. She was a photographer. She offered to take some pictures of me, and the next day we went to Libre, which is a town near St. Petersburg. It's actually near the border with Finland. I need to check. I think I need to turn left on the next bridge. Let's try not to die. So we went to Viborg. It's like this small village, not even a village, small town, come on. Near the border of Finland. Very pretty, and look at the autumn leaves. They had really big parks over there, so it was really nice in autumn to see the orange leaves, and it's a really good look. I know, yeah, but I definitely want to be out of here by November because it's gonna get cold. I'm leaving on the 4th of November, so it's going to be a little bit colder than this. But I'm going to Norway, which is going to be even colder. I'm actually going to Tromsø in the north of Norway to see the lights. Fucking hell, just thinking of it. I need to buy some clothes. I was told about a flea market that sells like scarves and fluffy socks and nice gloves, because my gloves, they're good for the English weather, but this is next level, and Norway is going to be next level, definitely. Right now I'm gonna go find myself a bakery, have some of the lovely Russian pastries and a really nice and hot coffee. And thanks for watching. Here is the animal of the week.